Yeah, I was making sure you was still going to be able to make it.
I'm here early, actually.
No, you're not. We're going live as we speak. We're literally live now.
Okay.
Just for the record. And how are you today? How are you this evening?
I just got in from this snowstorm. I had to pick up some food from Good to Go, and got to eat it
Talk
eventually.
about waiting till the last minute. You're lucky the stores was even open.
Well, I don't have responsibilities like other adults, so
Well, you made it. That's what's important.
yes.
We're getting ready to. We're live. We're about to wait. Did I just do? Did I do that? All right. Yeah. Boom. All right. We're about to. I'm setting this up now. We're about to go in five. Oh, I just dropped the ball.
What happened?
Hit the wrong button. Sorry. All right. I can start my countdown. So you ready? Hold up.
Sure.
Hold on. How do I do this? There's one other thing I want to do. Cause save that. And then we can do this. Hold up. Save. Oh, it's running slow today, boy.
Running slow.
Let me see something. We might get a few people. I'm gonna throw this on my. Hold on. All right. I think I'm gonna throw this on my Facebook before we start because might be a few more people home today. Why there might be people home? Well, let's just say, like you, everybody strapped in. How you out shopping during a travel ban is what I don't understand. Like
That
the
starts at
stores are
9 o'clock.
open. I'm sorry.
The mayor announced that for 9 o'clock. I'm in compliance.
I'm not saying you're out of compliance. What I'm trying to understand is how people from the store are gonna get home if they was open. Like that's counterintuitive. Like, wait a minute, wait just a cotton picking minute. How are you going to get home if you're still out in this? So I would have figured the stores would have closed early for that reason.
Okay.
You know me. I'm one of them people. All right. All right. With no further ado, I'm about to get into this. You ready?
Okay, as much as I can be. Let's see.
I don't even know why I sent this to you ahead of time. It's not like you really be going through it and checking it anyway.
Well, I have to go back and forth with ground news now. That's the box you have me playing in. It's not like a one, two, three. But yes.
It's
Let's see.
funny because I really don't even do the ground news the way I'm supposed to. I got the partnership and you handle the business. So I guess I should be grateful.
Yeah, I just have to shoot that promo again.
Yeah, very much so. Like, because we're not really telling people about the 40% off. Anyway, I see that we don't have very many watches so far. They're starting to come in now. But we're going to get into this. We have a lot to discuss as always. Trump keeps us very, very busy. So, hello, and welcome to the Think Tank, where we use critical thinking, deductive reasoning, and just a pinch of common sense to draw unbiased and logical conclusions. Today, we're here to talk about, as always, what's happening in our nation at the present moment. I'm here to debate things like should Trump be locked up now for the Epstein files and whatever that is, Christy Noam said, with the Honorable Dion Powell, who represents the Bronx, New York. I am not a politician. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a filmmaker. Just a guy that likes to study things and entertain himself with the study of things. And a very learned person. I pick up things quick. I deduce things quickly. And my counterpart, however, is in the political realm. I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself, and we're gonna get started. Dion,
Hey, family. I'm District Leader Dion Powell of the Bronx Conservative Party, 80-20 Trumpster of the MAGA
what is an
side.
80-20 Trumpster?
Well, I support 80% of what the president is doing, 20% not so much. I'm very critical of. And some of those have to deal with the war, international relations, some stuff here domestically. And yeah, so sometimes you bring up things I actually agree with you on, but from a different perspective. I'm a consultant, community leader, organizer, and that kind of guy.
Well, thank you for explaining. So 80-20 Trumpsters. So that is their way of saying that they're not in a cult. We don't always agree with everything he says, but to show, I like to point out the fact that they'll support him no matter how heinous of the act he does.
That's not true. You just say contradicted yourself.
Um, okay, there's that.
I mean, some people aren't happy with the way he's handling migrant issue. And you also have to consider the Maha side of the family, which are Kennedy loyalists, and a lot of them are upset. There's never Trumpsters, there's rhinos. It's a very diverse area over here. All we can agree on is that the
A
liberal.
rhino is not a MAGA person. You're just throwing things out there. No.
No, well, you don't
Actually, I think the
understand.
MAGA is the exact opposite of MAGA. They're against you. Am I wrong?
You're wrong because
Okay, explain what a rhino is.
okay, a rhino is a Republican in name only. And a perfect example of this would be someone from New York.
A rhino that's a MAGA person?
Yes. Now,
Oh, do tell.
you see, that's how I'm trying to educate you on all the things over here. Now, there's plenty of people, like all things like that, will smile in Donald Trump's face, and they could be on paid staff. They can be a rhino. They can actually be a never Trumpster. But under the Republican umbrella, they are labeled as Republicans. But overall, they push the MAGA agenda, whereas they're not really 100% backing it, if that makes sense, because they don't like liberal progressive Democrats and socialists. So that's the best thing.
Okay, so let me get this right. So they're pretending to like Trump, but they really talk about him behind his back. They're really against him in reality, and that's what you're calling a rhino.
Right, but you also have to include, Leo, what we discussed on the show previously, like people that Trump appoints in positions of power that are totally against them, judges in other areas where let's go, oh, wow, look, Trump's appointee. But no, that person is never Trumpster and a rhino. We found out after the fact.
So when I said, just for kicks and giggles, right? When I said rhinos are against MAGA, you said that's not true. And then when I said what is a rhino, you said they're MAGA people, they're people that pretend to be for Trump and they're not.
Right,
Is
but you
that
see, Trump and MAGA often are synonymous when actuality, MAGA is a very, very diverse field. There's Trump loyalists, yes, but there are people who believe, just like Black Lives Matter, people on this side believe that they should make America great again. And there's America first, and there's America only. You see what I'm talking about?
okay? Right. So just you just said that MAGA, that people that are rhinos are still for Trump, and then you said people that are rhinos are not really for Trump.
Right. They support Trump as needed, if that makes sense. Because it gives them position of power and give them access.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is why it is difficult for me to uh, deal with, to try and have this open discussion about what's happening, because someone might call that double talk. Me personally,
Trump does it all the time.
Trump does double talk all the time. You don't say. And let me ask you a question. Are you happy with somebody who is making the decision, saying one thing and then doing something else, doing double talk? Is this a good thing to you?
No, not really. That's why I'm 80-20. It's not a cult for me. For example, based on the things I kind of harped about with Trump having peace in his first election, his first cycle, as opposed to now, where it's more pro-war and he's listening to the neocons, and neocons are a part of MAGA, neoconservatives. That's what I'm disappointed in because a lot of people were following that process. Now, once again, this is bigger than Trump because, again, I fall back on Kennedy, which I strongly more so support what he's doing with these vaccine mandates and other health initiatives under the Maha side of MAGA or MAHAGA, Make America Healthy and Great Again. So,
Perhaps it's only his brainworm, but Kennedy is not afraid of germs. In fact, this man used to sniff cocaine off of bathroom toilet seats. And that's quoting him, as we did on our last show, when I showed what he said verbatim, which was, I am not afraid of germs. I used to sniff coke off of bathroom toilet seats. Is this the person you want making the decisions about germs?
yes,
This is the guy you support. Shh.
that's
And
right.
this is what terrifies normal Americans about Maha, about MAGA, about Mahaga, as you like to call yourselves. I am terrified of a person that is not afraid of drugs or germs because he used to sniff cocaine off of a toilet seat bathroom, off a bathroom toilet seat. But his excuse could be that he has a worm in his brain. What, did he drill it out with his own toothpick? Like, the man is terrifying.
But so far, most of America agrees with him.
Most of America agrees with some things that anybody does, but even a broken clock is right twice a day when it passes that one tick and then it keeps going. I'll give you a fine example. Donald Trump wanted immigrants, wanted our borders closed.
He
He
did
wanted to
that.
get he wanted
The border's closed. Yes.
not a see. That's one of the things where he double talks. He says the
How?
borders are. He says the borders are closed. He also says that drugs are coming through the border. It can't be both.
Yes,
So
it
he's
can.
lying about one to two.
Okay, when the border is closed, that means that we're not getting a mass influx of illegal aliens. They are not coming here. They've been deterred, they've been turned away. It's not a massive onslaught. Number two, the drugs can get through the border in many different ways, even through legal methods like a shipment of certain products or on certain
No, see,
detectors.
you're not. You're trying
So
to
that's
defend
how it
Trump, but
does.
you're not. You're trying to defend Trump, but you're not using. See, Trump said the drugs are still being smuggled in. You do
There you
understand
go.
this.
Right, but I'm talking about illegal aliens. There's two
So let
separate
me get this
issues.
right. So is it legal people smuggling the drugs through the boiler? They can
Could
smuggle drugs
be
through the boiler.
tourism, also ordering products. Some governmental officials from Mexico could be smuggling them in. There's many different methods of smuggling items, Leo.
So Venezuela was smuggling drugs into the country, but they couldn't get the people through with the drugs. So what was they stopping at the border and shoveling them across, and somebody on the other side of the border is picking up? Gotcha, go ahead, get out of here. Like what?
That could be possible.
Manga, we gotta love it. Okay, I can't. I have nothing else to say. That can be possible. They're just shoving the drugs across, but they're not physically. Wow.
Well, even that is
Well,
down, Leo. So human trafficking is
well, if
down.
that was down,
They
then why
found
would he?
missing
If
children.
that was down, then why did he go into Venezuela?
Well, he went to Venezuela, number one, to remove.
I thought it was because of the
You
drugs.
didn't let me finish. So that's a part of it. Well, number one, he removed the actual perpetuator of drugs and illegal stuff, which
But
is
if the drugs
another
wasn't coming
method.
into the country, what is the problem?
The problem is having an unelected official in Western Hemisphere that's a dictator named Maduro.
Named
Democracy,
Trump.
you can vote yourself into socialism, but you can't vote yourself out. And Maduro is proof of that. The South American people of Venezuela and others in Central America are very happy with what happened here. And it wasn't as much bloodshed as the usual stuff like previous presidents when they go kill dictators and destroy their countries.
The
So
vast
far,
majority of countries are not happy. As a matter of fact, he went on and told their leaders they're going to be next. They're terrified. They're setting up their militaries. To say that they're happy sounds like you're getting information from only particular sources. Some people call that bubble of sources where you can't reach outside of that bubble a bubble. However, I don't see. I mean, yes, I'm sure there's a couple of brown people that are actually still happy about Trump. The vast majority, though, are not. But I'm sure you can go online and find a couple that are, happy. Like the vast majority of black people are probably not happy with Trump. I'm sure that there are people like yourself that are, but the vast majority of us are horrified at what we're looking at. We're like, well, damn, if they can shoot white people dead in the street, we don't stand a chance. But I digress. Let us discuss this Epstein situation.
oh boy.
Yes, I mean, anytime you bring up Epstein is going to be problematic, I am quite sure. Nobody wants to talk about the Epstein situation. The unredacted Epstein files have a million Trump mentions, which is why 1,000 agents went through the files last year to redact them. 1,000 FBI agents were paid overtime on a weekend to redact Trump's name from the files. And they went through the files and they redacted as much as they could find, I suppose, 1,000 FBI agents. And it still came out that he was in those files once they released them after the redactions. They missed things like him measuring children's vulvas with his finger. They missed things like him molesting 14 and 15-year-olds and R-wording them. They missed things like that's all over the files. Do I have to pull it up yet again?
Yes, show me where he's actually great people. Donald Trump himself. That's a fact check there, Leo.
No, I didn't say he did it. I said it's in the files.
Okay, well, I thought you meant for Donald Trump. All right, so far all you have
No,
on Donald
no,
Trump is
Donald
that.
Trump doing it is in the files. The files say Donald Trump did that. The files say that Donald Trump is compromised by Putin. This has been known since the middle of last year when it came out that Putin might have a picture of him down on bending knees with Bubba. That's last year's stuff. That's not even the new stuff that came out. That wasn't the dump for the last 3 or 4 dumps. This is stuff we already knew. Only more stuff coming out with him and Putin. It's ridiculous how much stuff came out with him and Ghislaine Maxwell. He's been to the island. We have proof, or the files say he's been to the island. It goes on, and this is the redacted stuff. This is with a thousand agents going through redacting the files. We still have all of this coming out from this is the stuff they left in. So Thomas Massie, a senator, went into a room. He had an hour to go through the million files what was it, 3 million files, and he came out saying, "Wow, well, Trump's name is like in there like a million times." Marjorie Taylor Greene says only Trump is covering up Epstein. Marjorie Taylor Greene, for the record, was Trump's biggest, most loyal supporter. She was there when Donald Trump said jump, and somebody wanted to know how she was there. When Trump was ready to storm the Capitol, hold my beer. Marjorie Taylor Greene was there. Marjorie Taylor Greene is upset because Donald Trump turned on her when she wanted to advocate for the Epstein survivors and have the Transparency Act invoked to release the name of the perpetrators. That single moment made Donald Trump flip on her. We are not releasing the perpetrators. My friends will get hurt, he said, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene. I am not saying that Trump said it was his friends in the file. I'm quoting Marjorie Taylor Greene in saying that Trump said that his friends are in the file? Are you aware of all of this?
Yes, I'm trying to put the pieces together on ground news right now.
Do you
Uh,
believe Marjorie Taylor Greene was being honest with her assertion that Donald Trump said he was hiding the files to protect his friends? What is your take on Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement?
well, I'm finding several sources now on ground news. I'm not sure if you want me to share or not. My take, first
Fire
of
away.
all, okay. So let's go here. So here are our partners at Ground News. Okay, cool. All right, now, we put in Marjorie Taylor Greene Epstein. You have various articles here. Um, I'm going to go with the most recent article here on February 19th, where I think Leo's getting at Marjorie Taylor Greene takes aim at MAGA Trump administration after Andrew arrest. Now, keep in mind, former Prince Andrew was arrested. And he was in the Epstein files. So these are all the results here. All right. Now I'm going to segregate. Let's see. All right. So far, Newsweek has a summary. What do you want, Leo? Let's go to the center. That's always good. Newsweek is a major name brand. And let's go to Radar Online. We have zero arrests. Trump's enemy, Marjorie Taylor Greene, torches president's administration over Epstein case handling after disgraced Andrew was detained. The former congresswoman is furious that Prince Andrew was arrested in connection with the docs, but not one in the U.S. has been charged. But the highly factual one from the center is that's the current state of MAGA and Maha, Green said. Let's see what the right is talking about. All right. Marjorie Taylor Greene vents zero Epstein related arrests in the US. So basically, Marjorie Taylor Greene, like a lot of people here, she wants to see arrest of American citizens that are mentioned in the Epstein files. And
We
I
don't want to
tend to,
see. No, we don't want to see arrests of
you want to
American
see Donald Trump
citizens.
arrested. That's what you want to see.
No, that's not what we want to see. What we want to see is transparency, and we want to see that people are held accountable for their actions. We don't want to see arrests. We want accountability. Do you understand the difference?
Oh, yes, I do. But I thought arrests and indictments coming down the pike would be a way of holding people accountable overall, not just Donald Trump.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Accountability for people involved. Now, should there be accountability for covering up for the people involved? Because just so you know, now I'm not an attorney, full disclaimer, but when you protect someone that is committing a crime, you're committing a crime. If I hide you in my basement and I'm like, nah, there's nobody here, there's nobody, nobody got killed, there's nobody, I am committing a crime. Am I not?
Okay, yes.
So should the people that are protecting these perpetrators be held accountable?
If they're connected, yes.
Well, the only person that Marjorie Taylor Greene says is doing it, she literally said the only person covering these people is Donald Trump. And he said he's doing it because they're his friends. Do you not see where there might be a conflict of interest with him if he's named in the files and his friends is in the files and the law says that these files must be exposed, with him doing the things that he's doing to prevent the release of these files so that these survivors can finally get peace? This can finally be over?
Well, again, the conflict of interest in Epstein files as an area of the 80-20 Trumpsters like myself, and which it should be handled much differently. So, yes, it is a conflict of interest. The President of the United States is involved in the files, and he has appointed the positions of Department of Justice and the FBI, and all of these are his loyalists and things of nature. So it is a conflict of interest, Leo. So that's pretty
Well, let's
obvious.
go a little bit further. Let's
But
look at
there's more.
Caroline Levitt. Let's look at Caroline Levitt. Because Caroline Levitt, I believe your defense of him was something that was so laughable, I almost pissed on myself laughing at you when you said it. And you was like, oh, look at this guy. He's saying that Donald Trump made a phone call and he was the first to report that he reported on Epstein and that's what led to Epstein's arrest. And I was like, wow, isn't that convenient? You're like, oh, this is because he didn't want to be a snitch, blah, 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 blah. When Caroline Levitt reported on this on the news, you know what she said? The phone call may or may not have happened. This is coming out of the White House. That was how firm they was. It may or may not have happened. Did you see
That's
that
correct.
interview?
No, I didn't see that interview, but it's very disappointing. Just like, like I said, handling the mishandling rather of the Epstein files is area of contention on the MAGA right, center right as well. But again, we still are of the belief that this is bigger than Donald Trump, and the media is focusing on Donald Trump when this information was held and it could be used before against Donald Trump. So that's why people are overly skeptical of the media and how it's handled.
Do you know the name Virginia Giuffre? Giuffre, excuse me.
Sounds familiar. Let me check.
As you're looking her up, there was a young girl held in the house in the
Okay,
Epstein
there we go.
files.
Yes. Epstein files. Yeah.
Trump was said to be. This came
Okay.
out during him down on bending knees, right? He was, and I told you who it was back then. I made my speculation using deductive reasoning and a little bit of inductive, but the basic thought process was, well, first you have to understand the story was Trump went to visit this 14, 15-year-old girl in the 90s in Epstein's house while she was being trafficked, as she was being used as a toy, as a slave. While this was happening, Trump goes to visit her. He's left alone in the house with her for hours.
Well,
And at the time, the name of the young lady wasn't revealed. Now we know from the Epstein files that it was the same girl, Miss Giuffre, whom, like Jeffrey Epstein, took her own life. There seems to be a lot of that when Trump is involved. Do you think that the Epstein files are just lying on Trump? That FBI just released lies on Donald Trump?
um, no. Well, the thing is with Virginia Dufresne, according to the ground news here, it's more focused on Prince Andrew, if anybody, because that arrest really is what shocked the whole nation. 101 stories, Virginia Dufresne, ground news in the past 3 months. Most of them sent it right, but yes. Right here, we celebrated Virginia Dufresne's family on Andrew arrest. All right. Andrew, let's control V for Virginia. Let's see if she's in here. All right, she's listed 14 times, just like the Epstein files. Um, right,
Just so everybody knows, Virginia Giuffre was one of the survivors of Epstein. She was taken at a young age from, I believe it was Mar-a-Lago. She was taken from Trump, if I have the right young lady, right?
exactly.
And and taken by Epstein, and now Trump's going to visit her. But Trump had no knowledge that what Epstein was doing with these young ladies. But he also was the one that called and reported him. So he called and
Ah,
reported him, but
yes. Go ahead, Leo. Yes, finally. Truth. Go ahead.
the truth is, I just gave you four different stories, all of which came out of Trump's mouth in the last month. None of them match up. That's what you're only hearing what you want to hear. MAGA hears what they want to hear. He said that he reported Epstein, and he said he stopped talking to him because he stole one of his workers, but he went and visited that same worker while she was being trafficked in Epstein's house after he made the phone call. You're lying. Now, my thought of him lying is only speculation. It hasn't been proven in the court of law. But at a think tank, we can look at an argument from both sides and say, well, both things can't be true. You didn't stop hanging with him and end up in his house with the same girl that you said he stole from you. Like, it sounds like you went with her there. That's what it sounds like to me. But, you even if you didn't go with her there, you ended up there with her regardless. There's something wrong with Trump's stories. And Marjorie Taylor Greene says the truth is it's a cover up. It's a cover up. And Trump is trying to protect his people. My speculation is Trump is a very big part of it. But
Okay,
I'm
yes.
on.
Finally, I found what I needed here because I have to go to another website. Can I share my screen again?
Sure.
Yeah, because here we go. So this is from Newsweek, which you found from Ground News. All right, what did Virginia Giuffre say about Donald Trump? This was way back in November. Virginia repeatedly refuted allegations that President Donald Trump was involved in the crimes of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in sworn testimony and in her memoir, Leo. One of the Epstein's most
Yes, I'm
prominent.
aware. Then she ended up dead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Then she committed suicide, just like Jeffrey
Well, once
Epstein.
again, there's nothing here to hold Trump to anything. One of Epstein's most
No,
prominent
but inside
accusers.
the Epstein files,
That
it
means
contradicts
nothing.
it.
Well, but that's the Epstein files. This is from coming from her. This is the primary source, as we say in journalism. One of Epstein's most prominent accusers said she did not believe Trump was involved in any of Epstein's sexual abuse of minors. Although
Right,
she
and
has
then
made
she
no
ended up
allegations
dead. You
against
don't think
Trump,
that's a little suspicious? Listener, is it suspicious that she cleared Epstein and then a couple of months later wound up dead? I'm sounds like Nancy Drew to me.
well, the thing about it is that we're not the Hardy Boys. Remember that. So
I
anyway,
was a Carolyn
they
Keene fan, but who
okay,
actually
these are the classics in school, right?
no, Carolyn Keene is the
Anyway,
one who wrote Dana Girls and Nancy Drew. But go ahead.
okay, well, we're
I
showing our
like to
slip
read.
of age. So the point is, Leo, that according to her, Virginia, Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong. And that's the point. Now, for her to turn up dead later, but why would she go out of her way to try to exonerate Trump when many women, no offense to women, they could have just easily tried to get him for some money by saying otherwise? That's my point.
Well, there was another young woman in the file who actually did go after him, and then she said her lawyers terrified her, and so she backed out of it. And her attorneys said the same thing. So maybe she was scared. Maybe she thought she'd end up like Jeffrey Epstein. Oh wait, oops, she did. These are speculations. I have no evidence of this, but if I was a cop and I was on the beat, and this is my case, these are the conclusions I would draw from the leads that were given to me and from the evidence that was placed. I would think, you know what? 2 plus 2 equals 4, not 22. Especially when other evidence that surfaced that the FBI has, that the FBI released, definitively stated otherwise. She was a scared child. So
Virginia or
the
somebody
best
else?
case, Virginia Giuffre. So the best case scenario, the very best case scenario, is that she was horrified by the things that happened to her. She was disturbed, and she took her own life. Things were so bad. So her exoneration coming from somebody who was suicidal based off of what happened, in my opinion, would not clear her. The more likely scenario, in my opinion, not a fact, just spinning things, throwing things to the wall, seeing what stick, running up the flagpole, if you would. She exonerated a man who is known for threatening people and then ended up unalived.
Epstein or Trump?
Epstein was already could not be exonerated. He was in jail, wasn't he? He didn't he end up no longer breathing under Trump's watch? Isn't that how that went?
Well,
Isn't the
uh,
speculation by many? Now we're not saying this happened here on Think Tank, but isn't the speculation by many that Trump might possibly have been involved with unaliving him, and that's why the footage where he was unalived disappeared. That's why the guards that were there were both one was asleep, another one was I gotta watch myself. Almost said something about anyway. Was going through his phone or something like that, looking at shopping on his phone, and nobody noticed. That's why they was pushing a basket by. I think large enough to hold a body, and nobody knows. I don't know. There was a lot of peculiar things that's coming. And oh, by the way, the FBI has the missing footage that they claimed they did not have and still have not shared with the public. So speculation is, with all of this, that perhaps there's a cover up.
well, this happened in 2019. So between 2019 and 2024, when Trump was reelected, what happened? I'll
What
tell you what
happened?
happened, Leo. the people on the MAGA side were harping about the Epstein files and pederasts in Hollywood and beyond, and we were all just mocked and shunned as conspiracy theories.
That's true. 100% true.
So now, once everybody came for Trump when he announced re-election, they tried to throw everything out and put him in jail, except for this one factoid. Now, the thing about it is either two possibilities. Number one, Trump had nothing to do with Epstein files, and they couldn't use it against the point of
Except for his
jail.
name is all over him saying
Or
wild things.
or
So
number
that's obviously not
two,
true.
or number two, Biden administration was wise enough to know that if we do open the Epstein files, sure, there's a possibility we get Trump, but a lot of that stuff in the Epstein files might splatter at our base and our network and beyond. So let's just hold this one thing for later. So those are the two possibilities I see with the Epstein files. Either number one, Trump's not guilty of anything, and or number two, he is guilty of something, but if they open the can of worms, then that means other things like the Prince Andrew thing that he got arrested could happen to other Democratic people like Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and beyond.
Well, I got a rebuttal for all of that. Let's start with the fact that, well, Trump said, Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton's like, you know what? I'll testify. I'll do it publicly. Let's go. And then all of a sudden, Trump's like, no, 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 no. I want to protect Bill. Oh, what they do to Bill is so wrong because Bill wanted to testify. I think Biden might have been too busy cleaning up the mess that was made of a pandemic to worry about some Epstein files at the moment. And he was straightening out our economy because we were in the toilet because he took over from a pandemic. And by the way, by the time he was done, reported by right-wing media, our economy's comeback was the wonder of the world. Maybe he was busy trying to save us from the pandemic and not paying attention to people wearing tinfoil hats, even though the tinfoil hats happen to be true. It
Thank
happened to be
you.
right.
Thank
No,
you.
no, credit given. I myself was paying no attention to it. I was more concerned with the immediate emergency of a pandemic. So, all right, it got under the radar. Now Trump gets into office, and the same tinfoil hat guys are like, all right, now you said you're going to get into office and expose it. And he didn't. And so his very base, the same base that wanted the files, but nobody was really talking about the files while Biden was in office. They was more concerned with the pandemic and how it affected our country because of Trump letting the pandemic in.
You
But I
see?
digress.
No, 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 but
I
Leo,
digress on that.
let's
So
talk about 2023.
the answer to what you were saying is Biden had his hands filled with the pandemic. When Trump got back into office and his people started demanding the files and he started hiding them, then we all started wondering, why are you hiding them? Because people, normal people like myself wasn't paying attention to that. But as things progressed, we realized that Trump was hiding something. Then it came out that Trump's name was all over the files. Now we want to know what he's hiding. Trump set this trap for himself. That's what happened.
No. The thing about it is, I believe again, me personally, as an 80-20 Trumpster, that yes, there's a lot in there about Trump being a naughty boy. However, there's a lot
A
more.
naughty boy molesting children. Being a naughty boy. He was
He's not the
hardworking
only
children.
one. If anything, he's not the only
That's so
one.
your defense for so other countries are like, yo, you doing that, you going to jail. I don't care if you royalty, but you're defending your Uncle Trump.
The reason why I'm defending my Uncle Trump is because he's being singled out with the purpose of destroying him. It's not about
He's
victims.
being singled
And
out because he's protecting other people.
well, actually, the files are out. Everybody's doing their own
No,
due
the files are not
diligence.
out. Okay, so
Well,
according
there
to
are a lot
your
more names than Trump in there. So let's talk about some other names that's come out. Whoopi Goldberg. How about that? You want to talk about Whoopi Goldberg's name in there? Hmm?
there's a lot of names in the files, but what there's not a lot of in the files is names of people doing things to children, which is the difference. That when they released all these names, they were trying to muddy the waters, try and make it unclear so that you get confused about who's in the files and who's perpetrators. There's a lot of names in the files, but the perpetrators' names were covered up. While some of the victims' names was released, regular people who had nothing to do with perpetrating crimes' names were released, but the perpetrators were covered up. That's why they're after Trump. Release the names of the perpetrators as the law required that he
So
himself.
if Trump releases the names of the perpetrators, you're going to leave Trump alone, Leo? Is Trump's going to be in the clear? Look, I reached all names. Don't come after me. Is that okay?
If he winds up being innocent, absolutely. Get everybody. The problem is he pointed at Bill Clinton And what did I say? If Bill Clinton's guilty, lock him up. Isn't that how the regular people, normal people responded? And then it was like Trump, and then he was like, "Yo, I'll testify. Let's do this." And now Trump's trying to block his testimony. Isn't that what happened? So, unlike people in the bubble, people outside of the bubble wants everybody. We don't want just Trump. We want everybody. The people in the bubble just want to protect Trump.
Now, people in the bubble just want to get Trump. How about that? And that's why we're talking about just Trump and Epstein files. What about everybody else? That's my point. There's no balance here. This is skewed
Okay,
because Trump, it's
I
like a
don't.
RICO
So
case,
I'm gonna say this
Rio.
again. I'm
We
gonna say
talked
this
about
real
RICO
slow.
cases before, anyway.
I'm gonna say this very slowly because somehow you missed what I said, and I want you to listen to the words that I'm using. Really listen, because you really did not hear what I said. Obviously, the people outside of the right wing bubble want everyone involved with doing these heinous crimes held to accountability. We want them all. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care if it's Bubba. I don't care who it is. We want them all. People inside the right wing bubble don't care who else gets caught as long as they protect Trump. So they single out Trump as being attacked, while in reality, no one's attacking Trump. Everybody wants all the names. Trump is the one protecting them. So Trump's name is coming up more because Trump is putting himself between him. I'm sorry. Trump is putting himself between the perpetrators and the rest of the world who want to know who the perpetrators are. So the MAGA people in the MAGA bubble are getting behind Trump, which is basically helping him to protect the perpetrators. Do you understand?
Well, that's not true, Leo, because think about all the Republicans that sided for the release of the files. Think about all the Republicans to this day, like Thomas
Who's
Massey
Lex
and
Wagner?
Dion.
Who's Lex Wagner?
Oh, let me check.
Didn't he give over $1 billion to Epstein? Right? Over $1 billion to Epstein. And he finally got called into a congressional hearing. Do you know who showed up to the congressional hearing to hear Les Wagner, who gave $1 billion to Epstein? Do you know who showed up?
No, let's see.
You want to know who didn't show up? Not one Republican showed up. Not one. So when there's a congressional hearing of somebody who is super close to Epstein, who could spill the beans and say what's going on, none of the Republicans show up. That's what happened last week. Lex Wagner. But you can continue to protect Trump. Trump's a lame duck. His season's about over. Even Nick Fuentes says F Trump. Even white right wing racist conspiracists, neo Nazis like Nick Fuentes is saying F Trump. His time is up. He can't go after Gregor Garcia no more. I remember you like, oh, who cares about Gregor Garcia? Gregor Garcia beat Trump. You can't just go after him anymore. What do you think about the fact that the court struck down Trump's number one political agenda, the tariff?
The tariff war? You mean the Supreme Court decision?
That's what I just said.
Right. So my thing is this: Trump is still tariffing things. The decision about tariffs is not what most people think it they are. Let's see.
So let me explain what it is. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm not an economist. But from my meager understanding, he was using certain laws to be able to tariff Free Willy. Now that the court struck down his attempts to go the way he was going about it, to make it very simple, they're like, Trump is like, oh man, I can't just tax that. The power of the purse belongs to the Congress, so only Congress can levy taxes on regular taxes or tariffs, which is just a tax, right? So Trump is now trying to find creative ways to go around that. And so there's certain ways he can tariff for periods of time, but these tariffs can't hold more than, let's say, what is it, 4 months, 150 days, 150 days,
Okay.
100,
So I think
120,
I found out what I
four and a
need.
half months, 5 months.
All right, can I share my screen, please?
Fire away.
Okay, good. Whew. Thank goodness for ground news, family. Here we are. All right. So this is the one of the latest articles, last updated 23 minutes ago, thanks to Grand News, our partners. U.S. Trade Chief says no countries have said they will withdraw from tariff deals. We'll go from the center right here. On the 22nd, Trade Representative Greer said none of the countries with U.S. trade deals plan to withdraw, noting, I haven't heard anyone yet come to me and say the deal is off. That means these countries are smart enough to say, hey, we're not going to ask for our money back. The court decision prompted a temporary tariff increase to 50% after the Supreme Court struck down the previous tariff program. Trump imposed 10% tariff on Friday, then raised it on Saturday. So how could the Supreme Court strike it down and then raise it? Reflecting urgency of the situation. Greer said the administration will rebuild trade policy using the Section 301 Unfair Practices Statute and Section 232 statute with open investigations into Brazil and China expected probes into industrial excess capacity and subsidized rice. With partners seeking clarity, European Commission demanded Washington stick to it. The U.S.-EU deal and Treasury Scott Bessent said tariff refunds will be decided by lower courts, taking weeks or months. I think that's something you would focus on, refunds, right? Greer told CBS Face Nation that the scheduled meeting with the Chinese Xi Jinping remains focused on stability. He has spoken with his EU counterpart, emphasizing the meeting's purpose. So there you have it, Leo. Number one,
Yes,
the
it's
countries
plain that you
that
don't understand what you just read. So let me break this down. What I said to you was he could not tariff using the laws the way he was doing it. So he's trying to find workarounds, which means he can levy tariffs for 150 days. That's it. And then he has
well,
the
my point, Leo, is that even though the Supreme Court struck it down, the tariffs are in place, still stand because the countries that they're imposed on aren't complaining about it. And on top of that,
so okay, so no, that's not what it said. It said that they're not canceling deals. Let's be clear. What is a deal? A deal is something that two parties agree upon, and in order for that deal to be legally binding when you're dealing between countries. Now, I'm not an attorney, but by my meager understanding, in order for that deal to be legally binding between two countries, don't there have to be paperwork with signatures, which this president has none of? He's claimed he had tariffs on Japan, and he came to deals with Japan. Claimed he had deals with Germany, and all these countries said he was lying. So he says there's deals. They say there's not. That means there's no deals because in order for there to be a deal, it has takes two parties, right? Just duh.
well,
So,
again, like I
so
said in the
nobody's
previous,
canceling deals because there are no deals. As far as
the tariffs that
refunds,
are imposed are
as
still
far as refunds, he's not refunding countries because you don't tariff countries. He has to refund the people that actually caught the tariffs, which are actually American companies. So when they're talking about giving the refunds, they're talking about giving the refunds to Americans, not to foreign nations, because the tariffs that were taken from Americans, because that's how taxes work. Do you not know that to be true? Or do you want to look that up on ground news as well?
long story short, it's not the implosion as people would like to make out to be. So to be continued is my point.
It absolutely is the implosion. Three things happened here. The Supreme Courts, two of which, Supreme Court justices, two of which Trump himself appointed,
There we go again. Yes, that's right. So,
his own people turned on him. That's big.
well, they
They said
followed
he
the
was
law.
right. They followed the law instead of letting Trump twist their arms. Here's another big thing that happened. If you don't understand, the way he was doing tariffs was illegal. There are ways that he can legally implement taxes for short periods of time. And that's what he's doing now. He's got a 6 month tariff on, and then it's over. This is not the strongman move that he was presenting it to be. This is something so that people that are lame and doesn't really want to understand economics and just want Trump to have a win. This is a way for him to give them something so we can bow out and not look as bad as it really is. That's what happened.
Well, I will say this, according to Ground News, there's no major left-leaning at all media outlet reporting on this issue, so you would think. So that's very telling, if you ask me.
Show that. I'm kind of curious.
Okay. Okay, so boom. This is what we showed earlier. And I was kind of interested. I was like, wait a minute, I'm trying to get some left opinions here. This is the U.S. trade chief says no countries have said they will withdraw from the tariff deals. So basically, it's only a center comparison, it's right comparison, which goes to great distance, but there's no left leaning news outlets. Like, look at these big boys, like The Hill we know. Uh, yeah, The Hill we know. I think it's Al Jazeera, it's Reuters. Reuters we know is a major name brand, but there's none on the left reporting this story. I wonder why that is, because basically, let's go to media bias AI. Here we go. Left-leaning pieces emphasize preservation of hard-won trade pacts and frame the Supreme Court actions as a setback, stressing risks to businesses and consumers, while right-leaning coverage foregrounds reassurance. Using phrases like reassures and no one has said the deal is off, and highlights the administration's active conversations with partners. The rhetorical tone on the left is cautionary and protective, and the right confident and managerial. Good. Pivotal dividing lines include Supreme Court's ruling, legal implications, and independent confirmations from partner countries. Center cover supplies more legal detail. Both sides agree. Greer reports no withdrawals from what? The tariff deals. There you go, my friend.
Okay, so watch the wording. It does not say that both sides agree that no one withdrew. They said both sides agree. That's what Greer said. It's a Trump appointee. We can't take his word for anything.
Trump
There's no
imposed tariffs on these countries. Deals were made. So far, the Supreme
No,
Court.
there were no deals made. Name a deal. Why don't you tell me about any? Why don't you pull up a deal? Pull up a deal. Pull up one deal where there's actually a deal. Not Trump saying there's a deal. Not Trump imposing taxes. A deal. I believe EU might have said that they was coming up with a deal with him at one point. There might be one or two. There was. I do believe EU said they was coming up with a deal.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. Once again, thanks to our partners at Ground News. So now, if you put, okay, I think I spelled tariff wrong, but you put Trump tariff deals. Let's see. Maybe I'll put it this way: Trump tariff deals. All right. All right. Now, looks, the EU says U.S. must honor a trade deal after court blocks Trump's tariffs, right?
Oh, so the deal favored the EU.
All right. Well, look at this right here. We had earlier. This is today, actually, the 22nd. U.S. trade chief says no
Yeah,
country.
Greer said that. I got that. Greer said that. You've covered that.
All right. U.S. tells partners to honor tariff deals as Trump.
He tells them to honor the deals. Okay. Mm-hmm.
India delays U.S. trade talks after the Supreme Court, but this is like a lot hot button topic.
So the only thing that happened was EU said, "Now the deal we have, you gotta go with
that's about.
because the EU benefits from it."
All right,
like I said, remember what I said before you looked it up. What did I say? I believe there's a deal from the EU. I believe that one is there, and that's the only one I can think of, and that's the only one you can find, and that's because it benefited the EU. See.
All right.
Now, I'm not a scholar or nothing like that.
Here, look at this. Look at this. All right. So.
No. We don't want right-wing propaganda. No.
What, left-leaning? Okay, let's go left-leaning.
No, center is good.
There is no center. That's what I'm saying. Ground News has no center articles here. On this side, let's see. Okay, that's the AI. I'm sorry. The AI is not secondary. Let's go down here. Okay, down here, when it comes to articles, there are left, center, and right. So let's go to center articles. Now, this one says very highly factual, and it's from the center. UE expects U.S. to honor trade deal as Trump hikes tariffs.
I see. They're like, nah.
This is like, 9 hours ago. All right.
Right. So the only country that had a deal with the United States is like, nah, don't raise the tariffs. Got it.
All right. So look, the European Commission called Sunday for Washington to abide by the terms of the trade deal.
Yeah, you can't back out of the only ones that actually made a deal with him said you can't raise the taxes on us. That's not what we agreed to. and there's nobody else saying anything because nobody else made a deal with him.
There are plenty of
But
deals
as I
made.
said, the EU made a deal. I did recall that before you looked it up. I am on point with this, man. You're talking to the wrong one. You're not going to win this. Anyway, what else is happening? What's going on with your girl, Christine Nolan, man? Why is she a part of wanting to steal the elections?
How is she trying to steal us?
She wants to make sure that the right people get in. She wants to place ICE to make sure the right people get in. Do you know that, like, are you still reporting incorrectly about what the SAVE Act requires?
No,
Or have you come to terms with the SAVE Act means you have to have either a passport or your original birth certificate
can I go?
or a certified copy?
Can I go back to the previous question about who made deals with the United States for the tariff deal? Can I go back to that answer?
Sure.
Okay, so this one I'm going to get from Microsoft Bing.
Oh God.
And this is from go away, MSN. This is from Market Watch. Trump trade deals. Here are the countries that have made agreements. This is from 7 months ago, mind you, and those that haven't. Now, if we scroll down here, what countries have trade deals with the tariffs? And this is tariffs threatened column, tariffs level threatened in April, trading foreign trade deal. Japan, UK, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, China, and EU, no. Canada, no, 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 no. So there you have it, Leo. If you scroll up for Market Watch, these are the countries that had a trade deal with the
Okay,
United
let's
States of
list them. There were
America.
7 countries. There were 7 countries
They exist.
that were named to have deals. But can you pull up one deal? These are the countries that Trump said he made deals with. Can you pull up the actual deal? Because the only one that said they did a deal was EU. Everybody else said no, there was no deal.
Well, these is from earlier last year, July, April-ish. The threats were made of Trump doing these wonderful things. Japan. So let's look up the Japanese deal. Japanese. Remember the woman president of Japan and Trump deal with U.S. tariff. Let's see what happens.
We haven't even looked inside the chat. Okay, it's a little quiet in here.
Japanese trade deal with U.S. tariff. Here it is. The U.S.-Japanese
agree with you, Chrissy. Thank you for coming.
Announced in July 2025 includes a 15% tariff on most imports from Japan. That is the trade deal. And this is
that's not a deal. That's not a deal.
It says right here.
Oh, it includes a 15% tax. Go ahead. What else does it include? What else does it include?
It's the trade deal, Leo. What do you want?
Okay.
Thank you, Chrissy, for being in the chat. We already have 2,700 viewers. So we are live. Thanks all for round news.
Okay, so and just so you understand, he said there was a deal, and what I said to you was that Japan denied it. Japan's Prime Minister PM says no plan to renegotiate $550 billion investment package with US, which was the deal that Trump was touting. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takashi said on Saturday that she has no plans to renegotiate the $550 billion investment package deal reached with the United States. So she has no plans to reach $550 billion investment package deal reached with the United States. She has no plans.
Now, if you look at the last paragraph,
Takichi declined to comment on a trade deal that South Korea had inked with the United States. Oh, so South Korea did
South
a deal.
Korea made a deal with the United States, Leo. There you go.
All right, so South Korea did it. Okay.
Deal, right? Seal.
Okay, so I missed one. So out of let's say there's 6 countries out of the 190 countries in the world or whatever it is that he got deals with these tariffs, and the people that paid the tariff that paid the money for these 6 countries to make deals with the United States was American companies that wound up being passed down to American people. So we paid, according to Trump, billions of dollars so we can get trade deals with 6 countries. I would say that is not good.
Well, the thing about it is, right now, the lower courts have to decide about the refunds that you're hopping on, but the world is still the same place. Donald Trump is just going to keep moving. Now, what you got up your sleeve? Take him down. Epstein file.
So it looks like what's happening is He's losing power swiftly, and he's trying to cover it up. No, you can't tariff no more. Oh, I got this thing. We can tariff for another 6 months, and then it's over. Oh no, I got more things. I'm looking. I got more stuff coming. I got more stuff coming. This is what he's saying. But according to sources familiar that were on the premises, when he found out, he kicked everybody out the room and cursed up a storm. And started cursing out the judges, saying how ungrateful they were. So I don't think he took that as a W. I think the EU doesn't want to be tariffed more because at the end of the day, their products will sell less because they have to raise the prices, or rather lower their prices because the prices are going to be raised when they come to the US. So, and he can only do it for another 6 months. Basically, you're seeing Trump fizzle out. When Nick Fuentes is no longer backing him, when tariffs are being declined, right now, what he wants to do, I mean, he said Liberation Day, but he has worse than expected inflation. GDP, gross domestic product, the measure of goods and services sold in a year for the United States is only at 1.4%. It's supposed to be at 5. What that means is the United States is going broke, and most of the blame is on tariffs. Giuliani and Melania are flipping on Trump. They're like, yo, they jumping in there trying to save themselves. Melania's like, yeah, I'm testifying against my husband. You don't have to testify as your husband. No, no, no. I'm testifying. I'm getting my attorney. I'm testifying against Trump. I don't want to get caught up in his BS. Giuliani, who represented him, who he even gave a pardon to, who he provided clemency, is now like, nah, I'm testifying. I don't want to get caught up in no more of this nonsense. People are turning it. Fuentes, Melania, his wife, his old attorney. These people are turning on Trump. Trump is losing. He's limp. He's a lame duck. He's done. Dun 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 dun. We want effects. You don't know nothing about that. He's done. I'm sorry to have to tell you, he's done.
He's not done, Leo. More to come.
Well, when your wife and lawyer are turning on you, you got problems. Can we agree on that?
Well, not for Donald Trump. He's always the comeback kid, but that's Bill Clinton's cliche.
Even Microsoft is like, you know what? Your tariffs and all that, your policies, we ain't putting up with this. We out. Microsoft has left the country. They went to Canada. Microsoft, a homegrown American dream, couldn't take no more Trump and left for Canada. And took 15,000 of their best employees and set up a new headquarters outside of America because of Trump. Now that a tech giant the third largest company in the world, the size of Microsoft, has exited due to Trump, what do you think other tech companies are looking to do? What do you think that, I mean, their stock went up when they left and everybody else's stock went down.
Well, I think that they're going to move from Silicon Valley in California, thanks to Governor Newsom, to Texas. And Microsoft can leave if they like, but I still blame Governor Gavin Newsom, not Donald Trump, because Silicon
Microsoft
Valley.
wasn't in. No,
You asked
no.
about other tech companies.
Microsoft was in.
My answer.
Microsoft was in Washington, so you can't blame Gavin Newsom. Good try.
No, you asked me what about the other tech companies, and I just gave you my answer. The other tech companies, where Silicon Valley, where California, governed by who? Gavin Newsom. Those people are moving to Texas because of California's policies, not Donald Trump.
You know, they're moving. I haven't seen any moves yet, but Microsoft got up and got the heck out. Microsoft got up and got it. Gavin Newsom's been in charge. How long them companies still here? Microsoft got up and left in a year. If you don't understand how serious it is that Microsoft, the third largest company in the world, made in America, been in America for 30 years, one of the biggest success stories of American history, got up and left, then I can't explain to you the situation.
Well,
Liberation Day was a farce.
well,
The only people
California.
paying tariffs are American citizens, according to any economist walking the face of the earth. Anybody who's ever picked up an economy book, according to Google. What is the tariff that you're so proud of your uncle for? Because, you're defending his tariffs like they're good. And, you know, again, you have to understand this is an English word. So even though I'm not an economist, I'm qualified to speak on English. A tariff is a tax imposed by a government on imported goods and services, acting as a trade barrier designed to make foreign products more expensive. So if it's making the product, it's designed to make foreign products more expensive. It is paid by the importing business to its home government, not by the foreign country, and often results in higher prices for consumers and businesses. Now, I don't know if he was paying attention to that. It was a lot of big words. He might have got bored halfway through. There were some key phrases there. Acting as a trade barrier, designed to make foreign products more expensive, is paid by the importing business to its home country. So the money that they're talking about the courts having to give back are actually to the companies that are here. He didn't tax foreign countries, he taxed Americans. If
That
he
may
made
be that may be so, Leo. But like I read in the previous article, thanks to Ground News, that is going to be pushed down to the lower courts. Meanwhile, the deals during the tariff trade war that were made with those countries are still legally binding, and they're okay with it. That's what I read. Shout out to the
Yep.
3,900 people watching the show right now.
Yes, it appears that no one has said anything yet.
Only Chrissy, but I replied to that.
Yeah, well, cool. Well, yeah, our chat's a little dry than I expected it to be live because people are trapped in the house because there's a whole blizzard. But it's hard to predict. Anyhow, it's interesting that you're supporting tariffs as a 80-20 Trumpster who doesn't support
Yeah,
20%.
I told you that for initially. I agree with the tariffs because the tariff war forces negotiations about that global economics and not having a hot war or even a cold war for that matter. So that's why I like the tariff war better. That was a good strategy that President Trump did. So there goes the
A
80%,
good
Leo.
strategy is raising a good strategy of Trump is raising the prices on American citizens. I don't want you as my politician.
Well, the thing is, we are feeling the economic pinch, but long term, we'll see what happens. In the
Long
meantime, gas
term,
prices are
15,000
down.
jobs just got up and 15,000 high paying jobs just got up and walked out of the United States in the form of Microsoft. That's what happened.
Well, again, I refer you back to
SB one
California.
visas, SB1 visas are not being given out. So yes, now only Americans can take these high-paying jobs because they can't get citizens. But because there's not enough highly trained Americans to take these jobs, companies are forced to make a decision. That decision is going to be to leave because they can't get people to do the jobs here. Because the average American that supports Trump doesn't have a high school reading level, and these high-paying jobs that are being created that's listen. That's not according to me. That's according to stats. According to statistics, the average person supporting Trump are non-college or non-college degree holding American white people. That's the average person supporting Trump, which means they can't get these jobs. So that's what it means. That's what it means. It means if these are master's and doctorate level jobs, most of them doctorate, that if you have a high school diploma, that the jobs that are leaving don't affect you because you couldn't get them anyway. But the jobs that they create from having all these high power jobs, let's say restaurants and if you're a service provider or hotels or if you're driving cab or if you're selling goods, if you're a babysitter, all those jobs just got up and walked out with Microsoft. That's what happened. That's what this tariff war is doing. He's taking jobs away from Americans. Your tariffs that you're so happy about. but I know economics is not your strong suit. I'm explaining to you so you understand. When 15,000 $250,000 salaries got up and walked out of this country, the property value in that area decreased like, oh, they can't even snap my finger like that. Like, oh, it's gone. Property value decrease. People building in that area decrease. The jobs in that area just went limp because there's no one paying for the services. All the high-end goods that they were selling are no longer going to be necessary because you got 15,000 people making $250,000 a year that just left, so nobody's buying it no more. 15,000 high-paying jobs leaving with Microsoft was it the third largest company in the world walking out of America was devastating. With effects that's going to be felt for decades to come. They're leading the world in AI, and they just left. Trump's AI. You know what Carney promised them up? The Prime Minister, PM of Carney promised them in Canada? Clean energy. Donald Trump made a deal with them or made a law like this was China. If they invent something, are you ready? If they invent something, the United States can take it. They can nationalize their inventions, their AI. He literally made it so he can nationalize their things. You invent something with AI, we can take control of it. What do you think companies are going to do under Trump policies? Tariffs is high. You can't get people to work. I can nationalize anything you invent. Do you think companies are going to go to Texas? That's a
Well,
question.
that's what's happening. That's what I'm talking about. This is a local issue for the state. The state of California is an economic crisis thanks to their blue, liberal, progressive, socialist policies under the leadership of Governor Gavin Newsom. LA, some areas are still not repaired from the fire thanks to Mayor Bass. So again, look at all the companies leaving, especially the oil companies leaving California. Silicon Valley, again, I point to as a tech companies, not Microsoft per se, even though if you look at the history, Microsoft has left California progressively. They're moving to Texas. Even people that are leaving Texas fed up with the prices of taxes are moving where? To Texas for opportunity. There's like the people of New York are leaving New York and heading where? Florida.
Okay, so you obviously either you wasn't listening to me or you should never run your own business because you don't understand anything about running a business. Now, I'm qualified to speak about running businesses. I have two of them. Right now, I'm not doing as well as I'd like. I'm having a little bit of trouble, but I've done pretty good in the past. Check it out, right? Watch this. If I am in an environment that is hostile toward my company and I can go someplace else, relocate, and they're going to provide me the infrastructure necessary for my company to thrive, I'm going to go where the infrastructure is being provided. If I make something with my company and you're telling me you can walk in, kick my door down and tell me it's yours, you can take it from me, and that's the law, you can nationalize whatever I invent and make it yours like this is China, and I can go next door and they're like, we'll make a law just for you. We will never take your stuff. Here's clean energy. You don't got to use coal. We'll provide you the best of everything. We're not going to make life difficult for you. I'm going where life is easier, where I can make more money, where you're blocking people from coming in and terrorizing people on visas so that they can't come in and get jobs, where they go to Canada and they're like, what? Yo, we'll bring in 500,000 people in the next few months or whatever the number is and just make your life easy, whatever you need. While Trump is blocking them from getting employees. While he's terrorizing their employees because they're brown people. You think these companies are saying you don't understand business? I understand that. You don't understand economics? I get it. They're not going to stay where they're not wanted. That's that
Well,
simple.
for me, well,
Yeah.
I think you froze. Let's see.
And it looks like you froze. Up, you're back in action.
Yeah, you froze there, Leo. I'm sorry.
I'm frozen.
Oh, yeah, you look at you froze on my end. Okay. Maybe there's snow in the antenna. Well,
Oh,
Audrey, those numbers I'm not sure about. But thank you for putting those stats in the chat. But still, I'm of the assertion that
thank
the
you, Audrey.
economy
Those are the
does
correct numbers. Yes.
Well, put the URL in the chat. How about that? I need to see it for myself.
Okay. I'm sure you do. I'm verifying those numbers. Anyway, our time is running out. So let's see. We mentioned that Melania and Giuliani were actually testifying against your Uncle Trump. DHS demands social media to provide info for anyone criticizing ICE. So now I have to worry that DHS is going to want my information because I'm on this channel criticizing ICE. Did you know that?
No, interesting. Let's see.
Violence. I told you that was going to happen for weeks. I've been telling you this was going to
Well,
happen.
if
He's
you
like, "Oh
threaten
well,
violence, that's a good
I'm
thing.
safe because I'm MAGA." And I said, "Yeah, they set the stage when they arrested a brown man, a black man, and you're like, oh, was this out of a church?" And he wasn't inside of a church, just making stuff up. When they arrested him, they were setting it up to come after people like me, and now they're doing it. Violence by ICE quadrupled 6 weeks into Trump's administration.
That's not his fault.
I'm not even responding to that. That's not his fault. The uptick in violence wasn't his fault. Wow, I have nothing to say.
All right, so basically, ICE is monitoring social media. Okay, that's last year. I'm trying to. Okay, here we go. This was on Valentine's Day. All right. Okay, so I don't know if you want me to share this one, but this is what I found in that article right now. Let's see. It says here, ICE sends hundreds of subpoenas to social media firms for data on anonymous ICE critics. So that's what we're talking about. Yes, Leo?
Yeah.
Okay, now that breaks it down further. Now, this was on Valentine's Day. The New York Times reported that the Department of Homeland Security expanded efforts to identify Americans opposing ICE by sending legal requests to Google, Meta, Reddit, and Discord for account data. DHS officials say they are using administrative subpoenas to investigate threats to ICE agents, citing their broad administrative subpoena authority, wrapping up last year, identify anonymous social media accounts. Tech company review process and user notifications say Google, Meta, Reddit, Discord review subpoenas every month, sometimes comply and inform users unless legally barred. In court filings, civil lawyers said many subpoenas were withdrawn before a judge could rule, leaving targeted users with 10 to 14 days to challenge, and the ACLS filed motions to squash requests. The trial accelerated after the department ramped up subpoenas last year, including a September 11th Meta request, while Tom Home, the White House board of czar, urged to create a database. Well, that says to me, just like when ICE agents wear the mask, that more of these social justice warriors are trying to destroy these agents in their personal life and invoke
So
violence.
now they're subpoenaing information for anybody that criticizes ICE, and you're okay with that.
Right now,
I am here right
my
now on
answer
this
is yes.
channel with you, but yet
We're
you're
not making
okay with
threats.
that.
We're not making threats,
It didn't
Leo.
say making threats. It says criticizing. Can't you read?
Well, even though they could get the information that we're criticizing them, we're still not guilty of any wrongdoing. Now, it's the people that are organizing threats and protests and obstruction of these ICE officers and doxing them and trying to expose their true identity. Now, those people are the ones that should be worried.
Their identity is supposed to be exposed. That is what is being fought in Congress right now. Let's talk about that.
But if
Let's
they're
end up.
once it's exposed, these people still go after them, putting their addresses out, threatening their families, all kinds of craziness.
Nothing as crazy as what ICE does, I assure you. They're not walking around shooting ICE
They're
agents
just
like
doing
ICE
their
agents are
job.
walking around shooting American citizens in the
They're doing
face.
their job.
Their job is to shoot American citizens in the face,
Well, if they're
to
obstructing, if
execute
they're being
somebody, to
violent,
publicly
yes.
execute. Being violent, no, that has
Yes.
not
Those
happened.
people are organized protesters,
Are they being
throwing
you?
rocks and bottles and water.
They
So,
are executing people in broad daylight on camera.
well, there you go. But then broadly on camera, you're not being shown what the actual peaceful protesters are doing to
It
incite.
doesn't matter what they're
Yes,
doing.
it does. Yes, it does. You
So
can't.
you're okay. You're okay with American citizens being executed on camera in broad daylight because they might have done something off camera.
Yes.
You're the worst American there is.
Oh well, ICE is still there to do his job, but Tom Homan, the border czar, is taking action and he's moving them appropriately. What do you
Kristi
know?
Noem wants to place ICE agents who are shooting American citizens in the face at voting polls.
Great.
Can you see why this might be a problem?
Nope.
I'm sure you can't. And you don't understand that, oh, before we go, very important. This must be done every episode now. This is important because MAGA gaslights.
Do we?
The SAVE Act
We can't
required,
do it, Leo. Wrong
according to
screen.
Congress.gov,
Leo,
what
wrong
happened?
screen. Wrong screen.
Oh, I love it when that happens. I'm glad I ain't got nothing personal up there that could be.
That ICE we want to see?
Wow, I ain't got nothing to worry
Okay,
about.
here we go. HR 22. Is that what we're supposed to see? Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
Congress.gov. The bill in Congress requires individuals to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections. U.S. citizenship. What does that mean? It means if you don't have a passport or your birth certificate, not a copy on your phone, that's not acceptable. A certified copy or the original birth certificate or passport, you won't be able to vote. And now you're going to have people walking around the polling sites. Let me see your birth certificate. Let me see your passport. You don't see where that is a conflict of like that's you don't see where now mind you, the federal government is not supposed to have anything to do with states and their elections. But having ICE agents patrolling armed to the tooth with masks on, pointing guns at people asking for their ID, you don't see where that's a problem?
Nope. Because the states themselves, because elections are regulated by the states, they're going to have to just have them. For example, every polling site has a police officer, Leo. No complaints there. So,
I'm grateful that not many Americans think the way you do. And I'm hoping that Congress, even though it looks like they might reach a deal, I think, here's my honest opinion on ICE. Here's how I feel about ICE, since y'all are watching, pay attention. ICE is Trump's biggest weapon. They get rid of ICE, they can finish shutting Trump down. If they're talking about, oh, we can retrain them, get rid of that politician. They're against us. The only way to deal with ICE is to get rid of them and put up a new agency that has autonomy from Trump to deal with illegal aliens, because there are people out there committing crimes, and we don't want them here. We want them stopped. We don't want school teachers arrested. We don't want the guy that's doing my lawn arrested. We don't want the
you're a
guy fixing
slave?
them.
I got to
I,
have migrants like slaves, right? Good old
No,
Leo.
no, I do my own lawn. I'm talking about in general. I'm
Landscaping.
speaking as an American person, something you probably don't understand. I don't want the guy fixing my roof that has a trade skill taken out of Home Depot because yes, they add to our economy. Again, I know economics is not your strong suit,
That's right.
but they add to our economy.
Like the slaves
And
did
with
back in
Trump,
the day.
like the H-1 visas who come in making $250,000 a year, are you calling them slaves too?
No, I'm just saying that the
All
Democrats
right
make it
then.
appear.
Okay then. We don't need ICE harassing these people. Full stop. Because they're not slaves, you said.
Mhm.
That's what you said. I'm just going by what you said.
Right. These illegals are cheap labor. That's why, we don't want to do our labor anymore because they're so cheap. And these business owners use them a lot. So
As a business owner, I do use
illegals,
foreign people to help me with things that sometimes it's a little cheaper. Absolutely. Absolutely.
that's kind of like un-America because you're not giving those jobs to somebody that is an American citizen. And that's why a lot of us are pissed off. That's why we kind of agree with this migration policy from Trump.
Well, Americans want to overcharge for doing the same job. They do it for too low. Americans want to charge too much. I got to compete with my company. I have to compete with migrants too. Do you see me saying get rid of migrants so I don't have competition? No? You said no?
No.
Okay then. So if I'm willing to compete and you're not in the market competing with them, what's your problem?
My problem is that we have too many of them putting stressors on our government and too many criminals as well. And by the fact that you enter the country illegally, that kind of means you broke the law. So, and then all the people that procrastinated with their paperwork, all the parents that did the same for their children. It's like right now, all this time you've been playing in our face here in America. Ha ha, I'm here legally, I don't care. Now it's racist and evil. Oh well.
You know
So,
what I heard that was the most brilliant thing I've heard in quite some time? Somebody explain who the immigrant is that's coming away taking American jobs. It's not the Mexican. It's not the Mexican coming away taking our jobs. They're doing jobs that you wouldn't want to do anyway, right? Or are
so
you going to go out
what?
because? So they're not coming away taking our jobs. You know who's coming away taking our jobs? The immigrant coming away taking our jobs is Elon Musk.
Oh boy. AI?
No, Doge. That's the immigrant coming for your jobs. Not Mexicans, not Venezuelans, not Haitians. The people, they're coming and taking jobs. The Haitians are coming in, they're going to school, they're getting their medical degrees, or even if it's just nursing, and they're coming in there working, contributing to our society. They're coming and taking care of your sick behinds. The people, the immigrant that came and took away jobs was Elon Musk with Doge. And like you said, the people taking away jobs is AI. They're taking jobs. If you want to go to school and become a nurse, you could be working, and then the immigrants wouldn't be able to get those jobs. They're getting the jobs that you don't want. And if you do want it, you can go and work right there and we can all work together. And when you go and work with them, you know what you find? Outside of an accent, we ain't that different. We just want to be able to raise our families and live a good life. But if you're not working with them, if you don't know them, if you don't talk to them in your community, and you're in a bubble, you don't know that. You being in the Bronx, Dion, deal with a lot of different immigrant populations. Are they these all of them this evil that's being projected by you right now?
Well, again, the media is not reporting like it
Are
should.
the
No.
people in your neighborhood, the immigrants in your neighborhood, are they the evil that you're projecting to be right now?
I don't know. That's the
So
answer.
you're not going to defend your constituents. You're not going to defend your neighbors. You better hope they're not watching because some of them might not be.
Well, I'm a district leader in the Conservative Party. Now, the district leaders in the Democratic Party, they may be tripping over themselves, but not me. We're just right here, just sitting back, letting ICE come in and the criminality go down by their mere presence. So that's what I say.
You do know that the majority of crimes committed in this country statistically is not by foreigners, it's homemade, right? You do know the
Right.
vast
And
majority of
that's why I'm
crimes
happy
is
that
by
ICE,
Americans.
well, that's why I'm happy that ICE is around as a deterrent, along with the National Guard on our subways, along with NYPD and other law enforcement. I think it's great.
I didn't ask you if it was good that they was there. I asked you if the people that you live next door to are all of these immigrants criminals.
No.
But you're supporting the ICE coming in and taking them out anyway.
Well, you see, the thing is, Cleo, you guys always skew through things. Immigrants and migrants. We want to get rid of the migrants, not the immigrants that are still pending, my friend. The migrants messed it up for everybody, including these guys who are mad at these guys. Understand? Immigrants, migrants, illegal aliens, legal aliens, pending paperwork. These people cut the line. These people are still mad. Waiting 16 plus years for their citizenship, now ruined because of these guys. New arrivals, immigrants. There's a difference in the vocabulary.
So you're skewing things. And let me
You mean
clarify it.
you guys skew things? We know
Let
what it
me
is.
let me clarify. For those
Oh,
of you who don't know, let me explain. So what he's talking about is the people that came in legally under Biden. And
Illegally.
the problem is Trump doesn't like the way they came in. So now that they're here, he's like, well, I don't like the way you came in. Now you're illegal, and we want to get rid of
They
you.
were illegal in the first place, though.
They came in legally. Biden was the president. If Biden let them in, then it was legal. You want to change the law and then say it wasn't legal. If Biden let them in and he was the administration, whether you liked him, whether you didn't like him, irrelevant. He was in charge. He said they can come in. Their entry was legal. What you're trying to do, what Trump's doing, what you're trying to do is say, well, we don't like what Trump did, so now they're not legal, even though they came in legally. They came in legally. And now you're like, oh, well, we don't like the way they came in legally, so now we're going to say it's illegal and we're going to go after everybody. I think that's disgusting. That's just my opinion. You seem
Well,
fine with it.
okay. That's why Trump won because people got sick and tired of the mass influx. Ask Eric Adams, the former mayor of New York, by the way.
That's why he's the former mayor and not current,
Yeah,
because
Democrats
apparently
hate him.
that's not true. Who won? An immigrant, right?
I guess so, yes, but not a
All
migrant.
right, so obviously New York's not tired of it. I think that you might be wrong. They voted for an immigrant.
Well, here we
But
go.
what? I, am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong.
Mhm. I think you are
Uh,
wrong.
well, all right. Let the votes speak for themselves like they did with Trump. I think that covers it for tonight. We covered Renee Good and Alex Preddy. We just want to continue saying their names. They were slaughtered by ICE. Oh, we didn't mention that the ICE facilities have so many SA abuses going on where they're R-wording the people inside the facilities. 73,000 detainees with 3 dead in the last couple of weeks. 73,000 detainees, 3 dead. Um, they want to add 16 more facilities where the people being treated are worse than determined camps. They want to go into Atlanta. Atlanta doesn't want them. ICE wants to go in Atlanta. So much like Minnesota, much like California, much like DC, like any of these places that Trump is sending troops. I'm sorry, ICE people dressed as troops with masks on, no insignias, where they bashing people's car windows in and dragging people out at gunpoint with kids in the car, like it's Grand Theft Auto. They want to send troops into Atlanta now. Any place that has a blue city that'll vote against Trump, they want to send in troops. Chrissy Nolan wants to send ICE in around the voting booths in the cities that want to vote against Trump and his people. Did you know that? Did you know that the red states don't have to worry about ICE? Do you think the SAVE Act is going to affect? They want voter registration information. Do you think that they possibly just want that information so that they can try and figure out who's voting for what, so they can figure out where to concentrate ICE at?
No, they want the voter rolls purged for people that are on the voter rolls that live up to 3 figures of their life. They will make sure there's no duplicates, make sure people have the proper addresses, and make sure people are not voting on other people's behalves, especially through mail-in ballots. So those
What?
are the SAFE
Okay, so
Act priorities, my
I want you
friend.
to go through a Center News thing and show me where it's been proven. Center News,
You mean
go for
ground
it.
news?
It's center, not your right
Oh, you
wing
mean
propaganda.
Center News that's on the ground news partner that we have? Yes?
Yes,
Okay, let's
show
see.
me that where any large scale voter fraud has ever been proven. This is going to take a while because there's no such thing.
Okay, well, first let me share my screen so that way there's no real magic tricks going on here. Understand, my friend? Yes, ticks a lot. Okay, here we go. Voter fraud. That's what you want to go? Stop the
Large scale,
scene.
yeah, voter fraud. There we go.
Well, here we go. 7 charged in 2024 Pennsylvania voter registration fraud that prosecutors say was motivated by money.
Okay, let's
See.
look at that article and see if the fraud was actually committed. Was there a prosecution? They were charged, but that doesn't mean anything,
You want the
right?
center? Here we go. On Friday, Pennsylvania Attorney General Sunday announced charges against 7 individuals for falsifying voter registration forms before the 2024 general elections. The year-long probe began in late October 2024. Lancaster workers flagged 2,500 voter registration forms as potentially fraudulent near the October 21 deadline. People were trying to register to vote for fraud.
Just read,
That
just
court
read.
affidavit alleges Guillermo Sands, 33, instituted unlawful financial incentives that spurred some canvassers to fabricate registration forms to meet quotas. County election officials reviewed thousands of applications. York County Office of Elections and Voter Registration examined 3,000 whatever forms and denied about 24% for verification issues. Sunday added that motive was personal financial gain, not election tampering, and the Office of the Attorney General pledged to protect Pennsylvania voters' rights while investigating remains active. Where you go, Leo?
Okay, so
Voter
here's
fraud
what you said.
exists.
Here's what you said. There were allegations, there were charges, nothing was proven, and it wasn't about interfering with the elections. So, okay, fraud. We're talking about where has there been election interference that would make Trump want to put ICE agents, and what are ICE agents going to do about people counting votes? How is that? What the hell does that have to do with? How is having ICE agents around voting booths going to stop people from miscounting votes?
Okay, let's see.
What you're saying doesn't even make sense. How is him putting troops going to stop people that count votes? That's a lie. It's not possible. You can't, they're outside the booths. They're not inside counting, seeing what's going on inside. They're not allowed inside. So if they're not there to make sure for election integrity, because they can't see what's going on inside. So if they're not there for integrity, guess what? They're there for intimidation.
Okay, well, that's the thing. Just like police officers are at every polling site, ICE agents outside every polling site. If you're an American citizen, you got nothing to worry about.
Why are they there? They cannot control, even if there was election fraud, which you could not show me because it doesn't exist. But even if it did exist, their presence wouldn't deter it because it has nothing to do with the people online. So if you're there for the people online, you're just there to intimidate. There's no real reason for them to be there.
And people are still going to vote anyway, Leo. So
Why are they being deployed?
we just answered that question. So
To,
make
to
sure,
intimidate people.
no, they're just there as a deterrent for
Deterrent of
election
what?
fraud.
Deterrent of
Election
what?
fraud. Election fraud.
How
Election
are
fraud.
they? Answer this question. How is their presence going to deter election fraud when election fraud happens inside where they are not present? How is them being outside where the lines are going to deter anything?
Well, we just have to wait and see, Leo, and see how
That's
things
no,
go.
no, no. You're claiming they're common sense, critical thinking. I know you're in a box and you can't answer this, and I need you to not be able to answer this. So I've got to do this one. How is their presence going to deter election fraud?
Well, people that are illegal, aliens, migrants, who may be encouraged to vote for whatever means, they will be deterred from voting. Understand? And if you're an American citizen, you got nothing to worry about.
If you're an American citizen, you can get shot in the face, apparently. I wouldn't say that's nothing to worry
That
about.
has nothing to do with that situation, but okay.
It has everything to do with it. You're talking about these same goons.
Goons. Now they're goons. These law enforcement agents just trying to do their job. If they're just standing out there, just like National Guards in our subway system here in New York, they just stand there with their long guns and those doggies, and that's about it. Keep life moving.
The National Guard and American subways are not shooting American citizens in the face.
But they're there, and nobody messes with them. That's strange.
Right. They're not harassing people. They're not bashing people's car windows out, arresting school teachers, dragging mothers from their children, using children as bait to drag to arrest people in their houses, like using children as bait. They're not doing heinous, horrendous, horrible acts. So I guess people don't react to them the same.
Yeah.
When there's a national emergency and people need food, they're there to help make that happen. They're there to get people blankets. They're there to help people. Yeah, we support that. National Guard. We support that.
When the governor of Hochul uses National Guard, it's okay. But when President Trump uses the National Guard, it's not okay. I don't know.
I just said when you're out there trying to help people is good. When you're out there trying to hurt people is bad. I know you don't understand economics. I know you don't understand anything that becomes inconvenient for you to try and have to explain your way out of, but this is good and bad. Are you saying you don't understand good and bad now?
Well, I do know this. President Donald Trump won the election on this issue. And so far, Americans are happy with national voter ID. And that's a part of the SAVE Act. And that's what we need to talk about.
They're happy with the lie. They don't understand the truth. They're happy with ID. They're not happy with bringing their having to have social security cards and passports to vote. But you're not going to tell that part of the story. That's why I show it on this show, because y'all are going to lie about it. We're going to tell the truth. That SAVE Act means if you don't have a birth certificate or passport, you can't vote. That is not something Americans are happy about.
In federal
But that's not
elections.
something.
In federal elections, yes.
But that should not be a requirement. You should not have to have your I-9 forms to be able to vote. That's crazy.
Well, we need IDs for other things in life, like get a
That's
job
not
so it doesn't
ID. No,
snow.
no, no. Driver's license is ID. You don't bring your birth certificate out the house every day.
You need just to
That's
prove your
not
citizenship. You just need to prove your citizenship. Nothing to see here, family.
the same. Like, and then they're going to take your birth certificate. Now they passed the law, right? Now they're going to accept your birth certificate. Like they did, like Donald Trump accepted Barack Obama's when he showed his Hawaiian one, and he's like, "That's not real." Now they're gonna deny birth certificates next. It's a line. It's a straight line. He went on yesterday or this morning and he said, "Are you ready for this? If we can pass the SAVE Act, we don't have to worry about elections for the next 50 years." He's saying the quiet part out loud. He's saying the part that he's not supposed to
Trump
say.
2028.
He's saying that if we can pass the SAVE Act, we can we don't have to worry about elections anymore.
Good. Sounds good to me.
It sounds good that your party's trying to steal elections. Got it.
No, we're not. That sounds like a Democrat conspiracy theory, Leo.
He said it
He
himself
says a lot of things, Leo.
multiple times. Christy Norm is like, they want to make sure the right people get in.
Makes sense.
Who are the right people? She didn't want to say, she did not say she wanted the people that wanted to get in. She wants the right people to get in. Who are the right people? The people on the right, perhaps? The
Perhaps.
people that'll make sure that she doesn't, because right now they're talking about impeaching her behind. So the people that are not going to impeach her, is that who she wants to get in? It seems like she might be compromised because there are people that want her tail to pay for what she's done. So because of that, it sounds like she might be compromised. Do we want her? You might want her sending ICE agents, but I certainly don't want her sending ICE agents because she's compromised. Can you admit that she's compromised? And right now she's a little bit worried because people want her job. Can you admit that?
No. Just like a lot of impeachments, this is like meaning nothing. Impeachment is meaningless now because the Democrats have played it out and have had zero results. And they can't even stop their renegade Congress people from wanting to impeach so much. So they wanted to impeach Kennedy. They wanted to impeach Christy Nome. Who else did they want to impeach? Pete Hegseth, and on and on and on. They want to impeach Trump so bad. So good luck.
It sounds like to me the list you went down on people that should not have the positions they have. Donald Trump, we're not even going to talk about it. All you just do is bring up children and Epstein, and Donald Trump's explained. Christy Noem has her guards. She wants to shoot. She wants to intimidate people on voting lines. She came up with lies to protect ICE agents that were just shooting American citizens. She's a mess. Hegseth, yeah, he's in charge of the military. He's on Signal, a easily hackable app where it's giving away military secrets. These people are incompetent buffoons.
I don't know.
Listen. Did Fuentes really just flip on Trump like that? Yes, he did. I saw it coming. Trump is done. Thank you, Mason.
Well, he was at January 6th and he didn't get arrested. So that should tell you all you need to know about Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, the ICE situation is getting worse every week. It is hard to keep up. That's why us here at the think tank try and make sure that all of the information is given once, twice, sometimes three times a week. We can't even help with this. Hard to keep up with. But we definitely go over all of the important points every Sunday, 9 p.m.
Live.
Absolutely live. So you can come in and we can talk to you. Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Mason. Thank you, Audrey. Thank you, Crizzy. It feels like the MAGA coalition is cracking in real time. Yes, Mason, that's what I was saying. See that? They're coming into the comment section and they're green. See, this is regular American citizens seeing what we're seeing outside the bubble. Inside the bubble is a lot of hot air. But that's going to be it for tonight. Any closing statements?
We are the media, and now so are you. So make sure that algorithm pays attention to all of us by sharing our content and add your own. That way, the world can actually see what's going on.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. Dion, thanks for being a good sport. I had to pick you apart a little bit tonight, but you took it on the chin
Always
like a
do.
champ.
All right.
Haha. Sick hail for you because you're an Elon
Oh
supporter.
wow! Now the algorithm's gonna go crazy with that gesture. Yikes!
Yeah, yeah, because you're an Elon supporter. Me, I'm not an Elon supporter. I don't support an immigrant that made his money off of making slaves of black people in Africa, coming over here and buying up American companies. Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't know that history. He made his Elon Musk made his family made money because they had emerald mines that they had slaves digging up. That's how Elon Musk became rich. When he came here, he didn't invent PayPal. He didn't invent Tesla. He used the money that he had from having slaves to buy into these companies and eventually bought his people out with that slave money. Your immigrant friend who's getting rid of American jobs, Elon Musk. Just throw that out there for those of y'all listening. Hold on. Fuentes turning on Trump is peak 2026 politics. Ah, yeah, okay, Chloe. The people that did not know about the Fuentes thing. Fuentes got people surprised. So being that people are so before we go, people seem very interested in the Fuentes thing. As a Trump MAGA supporter, the fact that one of his biggest allies has turned against him, the fact that his wife is going to testify against him, the fact that his old attorney, what is his name? Rudy Giuliani is flipping on him. What do you have to say to these people about the fact that all of this is happening and Fuentes is leading the way?
Nick Fuentes is an influencer. He'll do it and say anything for clicks. So now the wind is blowing in a direction that he's trying to get more people to turn on Trump, when in actuality, his fan base is actually going either way right now. So I wouldn't trust that guy. As you can see, he turns on a lot of people very easily. And again, he was at January 6th and he wasn't arrested like so many other people who were just there. That should tell you what you need to know.
So you think that Fuentes is a plant?
Yes, I do at this point from my circles about Nick Fuentes. And he's an op. He does a lot of psyops and things of that nature. And he's actually there to control young white male youth, influencing them in either way. But again, his stuff that he deals with another foreign nation, he calls out a lot. Another demographic of people, he calls out a lot. That's all, what do you call it? Opposition control or something like that. So I don't trust that guy.
Okay, so just for references, so you'll understand, Mag is now flipping on Fuentes. Anybody that turns against Trump,
You like?
MJT, Fuentes, Joe Rogan, anybody that turns against Trump, MAGA turns on them. They have not opened their eyes yet. Well, not all of them. They're starting to. They're starting to. They're starting to. There's some people that's going to hold on to the last moment, and we will continue to throw facts at them until they give up. Um, wow. Okay, just the chat is starting to go a little crazy. Feels like my coalition's cracking in real time. We got that, Chloe. Okay. The tariff strategy look tough on paper, but the results aren't matching the rhetoric. Oh, you just okay. No, no, the results are definitely not matching. Thank you, Mia. Logan, Epstein question still lingering years later is crazy. Why does it never fully go away? Because Trump is not answering the questions and letting the files be released. Ethan, this feels like the beginning of a major shift inside the conservative base. It seems that way. That's the way I feel. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. Watching the aliens turn critics is always a sign something bigger is happening. Allies turn critics. Absolutely. That means that they're cracking on the inside. That's what it feels like. Wow, you're commenting on what we were talking about real time.
That's
People
right.
who came in late, they're talking real time. Trump built his brand on loyalty, so this is interesting to watch. Agreed. If you didn't get down with Trump from the beginning, like if you didn't pledge your allegiance, then he rotted, he hit you. If you didn't jump through every hoop, he turned on you immediately. That's a fact. The ICE debate isn't black and white, but the optics lately are rough. Interesting, Ryan. Wow. Wow. So Ryan is saying that the sides to be, both sides can be seen in the argument, but when you're looking at what's happening, it kind of is what it is. Optics are hard to argue. Tariffs were supposed to boost leverage. What happened? They lied to us Americans about what tariffs are. Tariffs are not a tax against foreign countries, they're a tax on Americans. Our prices went up, and that's what happened. We our prices went up. That's what tariffs do. They raise prices. And so what was supposed to happen and what really happened, well, according to the definition of tariffs, what happened happened. Uh, that's why countries don't want to end the deal so quickly, according to Dion.
That's me. Well, that's it.
Oh, you're the number one contributor.
Yeah, because me and Chrissy, I went from number two. You can actually increase your status. What more comments, guys? So every live episode, when you're in the chat, the more comments you make, the higher your status will be. So I went from number two, as you can see in the chat earlier, to number one. But Chrissy came in strong at number one because she always participates in every episode. So can you.
And just in case you don't know, a tariff is a tax imposed by a government on imported goods and services, acting as a trade barrier, which is what he said he wanted to do, designed to make foreign products more expensive. So it makes foreign products more expensive. It is paid by the importing business to its home government, not by the foreign country. So if it's used properly, it can be a tool. But at the end of the day, it's a tax on Americans. And that's all that it is. So we're gonna wrap now. I thank everybody for coming. It's been a good night. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Ryan, Chloe, Ethan, Mia, Mason. See a lot of familiar faces. Audrey. Thank you all for coming. And we'll see you next week this time, 9 p.m. Have a good night.